Chapter 21 Contemporary Life. Moshe Leib's Ancestry. Another discovery that Baruch made about Chassidim was that it taught one to control oneself. As he observed the heated discussions which took place between Yitzchak Shaul and his brothers-in-law, who never seemed to see eye to eye, he saw how frequently the elder young men gave free vent to their feelings. But whereas Yitzchak Shaul showed himself as quick as they to get into a temper, no sooner was his anger kindled than he suddenly seemed to close up, as if with a lock and key, and his anger disappeared. He explained this to his friend Baruch one day, saying, "My father used to say to me in the name of the Baal Shem Tov, that anger is a foreign and unworthy thing, even when it springs from the fear of heaven. He taught me that whenever I get into a temper, I should just seal my lips and not utter a word." Baruch was very impressed. He decided he would like to know more about Yitzchak Shaul's brothers-in-law, to get at their background and education and see what had brought them to their particular viewpoint. What sort of a person, for instance, was Moshe Leib? Baruch went into the matter very thoroughly and discovered quite an interesting story. It appeared that Moshe Leib was born in Lupolov, a suburb of Molev on the river Dnieper. He came of a very distinguished family. He was the 10th generation of a distinguished Spanish family, natives of Castile, Spain. During the Inquisition, they fled the country seeking refuge in Tuscany. From there, the family had to wander anew, and as they wearily made their way from town to town, they eventually arrived in Molev and settled there. Moshe Leib's ancestor of 10 generations back was Rabbi Yitzchak, who was a pupil of well-known Gaonim of the period. It was also said about him that he was the pupil of the great saint and Gaon, Rabbi Shem Tov. Following the family tradition, Rabbi Yitzchak became a great scholar. His father was a very wealthy businessman. The son assisted him in his business transactions, but above all else, he devoted himself to Torah study. Rabbi Yitzchak reached Molev at an advanced age. He was accompanied by his son Nata and his grandson Nachman. They immediately began to do business with the local duke, and their business increased and spread in all the surrounding towns and townlets. Soon after, Nachman's wife died childless. He then married again, this time choosing as his wife the daughter of a well-respected man in Minsk. As his second wife was also childless, his grandfather advised him to take an oath that, should he be blessed with a son, he would give him up entirely to the study of the Torah. Nachman followed the advice of his grandfather, and after a few years, his wife presented him with a son, whom they called Chaim Yeshua. Nachman kept his oath, and his son devoted himself completely to the study of Torah and the service of the Almighty. When he eventually married and had a son, named Moshe, the latter not merely followed in his father's footsteps, but lived as a Nazir. Moshe was married but a year when his wife gave birth to a son to carry on the family name and tradition. Moshe's grandson, Nata, who was Moshe Leib's grandfather, was the Maggid of Lupolov and became known as an ardent preacher and moralist. He took up this role following a dream he had in which his grandfather Moshe appeared before him and told him that was his mission in life. Yosef Akiva, the son of the Maggid, already at the age of 13, knew the entire Shas and was known as the genius of Lupolov. At the age of 18, he married into a well-known family of Molev. Yosef Akiva lived at the house of his father-in-law for 20 years, and he studied assiduously, while his father-in-law supported him. The one thing which marred his happiness was the fact that he had no children. When his wife died, her father persuaded him to marry the younger daughter, but though they lived together for 6 years until she died, he still had no children.